Hello everybody, welcome into Rock Painting 101. Today we are going to be doing a really cool optical illusion style rock. Now I'm using these really cool canvas style rocks that you can get from Cap Couriers. They're round, they're awesome, they're super smooth and flat, and you get a bunch in a set. Now having nice smooth rocks like this helps create the illusion. So we have to have straight lines and straight corners to be able to pull off this really fun illusion rock. Now I'm breaking this down step by step, so even if you're super new to painting, I will break this down. You'll be able to create this fun illusion rock when it's all said and done. So let me know what you think in the comments below and enjoy the tutorial. So I've done an optical illusion or two rocks in the past, and so just like those, the kind of rock that you have definitely helps the design work. If you're trying to fit something that the illusion is supposed to be flat for it to actually take shape, and you're putting it on a really round rock, it might not work. So today I am using these style rocks. They're like little rock canvases. They're super cute. They're kind of fun. There's lots of different ways you could use them. Today I'm going to be using them for my illusion rock. These are from Cap Courier stones, so you get a pack of them so you can do a bunch of fun designs like this. I have given mine a quick base coat with a white spray paint to keep it nice and smooth. If you're going to do a spray paint base coat, make sure you get one with a primer in it, and it'll take one nice coat and you're good to go. I also prepped my rock by drawing a square on there. I just used my ruler to draw my square. It's a 3 centimeter by 3 centimeter, and it's not even 100% perfect. It was just to get a nice square, I'd have to be kind of overhead, and I didn't want my head in the way, so I went ahead and put it on there. Now I am going to make some other pencil lines on this rock, and they might be a little tricky to see, but I'll make sure to pause in between so you can definitely see how I am laying out this design, because that's the main part of this, is getting it laid out properly. Once you have it laid out, you'll be able to recreate this pretty easy. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to extend all of the edges of our square out to the edge of our stone. So I've got a clear ruler here so you can kind of see what I'm doing a little bit better, and I can kind of see from the side where I'm at. We're just going to take these edges out all the way on all 4 sides of our rock here. And I'm using pencil instead of like one of my pens, because if you place your ruler down on a pen, you can smear it really easily, and I didn't want to get black smears all over this rock. I'm going to color this in rainbow style. You guys know how much I love my rainbow rocks as well. So mixing 2 fun things together, an optical illusion and a rainbow. So there we go. So we've got all of those edges all the way out. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to divide each of these into thirds. Now, these are 3 centimeters. I got to find centimeters on this ruler because I was using a different ruler before. Looks like these are centimeters on this side, the pink. So if I put my 0 on here, and that should be 3. Yep. So I'm just going to come in here and mark 1, 2 on all of the sides. And then we'll use our ruler to connect our lines so that they're nice and straight. I'm just using very light pressure with my pencil, and I'll make sure you guys can see what I'm doing, but you don't want to have really harsh lines that you're trying to paint over later. So I've got my little dashes on there. And now I'm going to go across the square to connect them out to the edge, but I'm not going to draw inside of the square. So you just line up your 2 dashes across from each other on your square, and you just do on the outside of the square, like that, on all 4 lines. You'll have 2 going each direction. I got a little divot in my rock on this side, but that's okay. We're just going to work right up to it. We'll get in there with our paints. I'm going to be coloring in a lot of this using my dotting tools. I like coloring with my dotting tools, but you can use brushes, whatever you've got. All right, just like that. I'll hold that up in case you can't see with the glare. So we've got actually four, 3 stripes on each side, but 4 lines going in all the different directions. Now we are going to do a diagonal line across our square. And this one's very important to get point to point. Like so. And now we're going to bring on 2 sides towards the bottom. Now the first one, you're going to take the line here and you're going to go slightly below the first line on the side. And you can either freehand that or you can use your ruler. I like to use my ruler. I like to keep the lines fairly straight here. Just a little bit below. The second line is going to go about halfway between the next 2. Just like that. And we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. And you can try to be as consistent as you can. So we're about halfway in between and a little bit. So you like how I spun my rock about 1,000 times just to get to the same place. I do that often. So here and then here. All right, now this bottom corner is going to be our abyss. I'll lift this up. You can almost see how the illusion works already, but it makes a lot more sense once we add in some fun colors. So like I said, we're going to do rainbow. I'm going to show you a couple stripes here, and then I'm going to speed some of this up just because it's a lot of repetition and you don't need to watch me do the same thing over and over. So I've got red. I'm going to add here. And like I said, I've got my dotting tools. I think you've probably seen people on Facebook that use even toothpicks. So you can do your rainbow pattern however you want. I tend to like red and I don't want to have, this is going to be a small one. So I'm going to start right here with red, or maybe even here with red. So I'm just going to go and I'm going to fill in this section, this stripe, and then this stripe. And then I'm going to have it like it goes down and comes back up. So actually the one across from it's going to be red as well. So sometimes I like to kind of pre-place my dabs so that I know where I'm heading. I'm going to color in a lot of the inside here first. And then I'll go closer to the edges, because then I can slow down when I get closer to the edges, and you can go right over this fold. Like so. And when you get down to that bottom area, you do want to get the red close to the bottom, but most of that is actually going to end up being black. So don't worry about getting way down into that corner. Focus more on getting this top line nice and crisp and this corner nice and crisp where it kind of folds over the edge. So I'm finishing up the last area of blue here. And some of the colors have dried a little bit, but we're going to let this dry all the way, which might take a couple hours because we're laying on the colors nice and thick here, before we go in and add our shading. Now you can, once you've got all the colors on, you can look for places where you want to touch up. You want the colors to nudge completely up to each other. You don't want to see any gaps of white. This little corner here is okay because that's going to end up being dark. You can kind of see how the colors are going to kind of fold over the edge and go down deep inside there. So I'm just going to take my absolute smallest little tip and I'll go in and touch up in a few little spots that you can see just that little bit of white. See in between the purple and blue here, I see just this little bit of white will come in and really get those colors nudged up to each other. It's going to help in the full illusion effect when everything's all said and done. Got a little area of green here. This bottom corner is going to be very important to have a nice straight hard edge. So go back in there, take your time, and clean up your edges. And we're going to let this dry, and then we'll show you how to finish it up to really complete the illusion. A lot of my colors, my red is almost dry there completely, so it shouldn't be too long. I've got this little space in here where I'm missing a little bit of orange, and it looks like a little bit of red on this side. So if you've got little indents or divots in your rock, just make sure you fill them with paint. Do the best you can at continuing the lines. The ones on the outside edge here are not going to be as crucial as far as pulling off your design. So if you've got a couple little spots way out on the edge, it's totally okay. But we just want to get those colors as close together as possible. And I keep going off the screen. I've just got a washcloth, a dry, like smock rag, you know, that I don't care that I get paint on. I buy those super cheap ones. I just wipe my paint right on it just to clean off the tip of my daughter. Now, so here, I got a little bit of yellow I need. And other than that, we're going to let it dry. So we'll be back when this is completely dry. And we're going to add some fun shadows to really make this illusion pop. So I ended up letting my rock dry overnight. Since I might use a little bit of water to dilute my black when I'm shading, I just didn't want there to be a chance of me pulling up any of my color. So as you can see, my rock kind of spins on my plate. So I'm actually going to tape it down. I don't want it to be moving on me because I want nice crisp edges. I can always rotate my plate itself if I need to turn the rock while I'm working on it. So I'm just going to place it here, right in the center, and then I can move my plate if I need to, but that way when I'm painting I don't accidentally mess that up. A very important part of pulling off this illusion is keeping this nice crisp line on the top and bottom here, and even when we're shading we're going to have the illusion of the line that's here and along here. So I'm going to get myself a little bit of black paint on my plate here. Won't need very much. As you can see, I wasted a little bit. I let it dry on my plate. I talk about using paint pens a lot. That's one of the main reasons, because I tend to do this. All right, so I've just got, this is a flat brush. I can't even see the size because I've got paint over it. A number 4 flat. So it's got a nice square edge when it's wet, and that way I'll be able to have a nice square edge in this corner. And I'm going to start with a little damp in my brush. I never work with a completely dry brush. But I'm going to start in the corner of my project because I do want it to go completely to black here in the corner. So I wet my brush, but I've dried it back off. I just don't want to go with completely dry bristles. And I'm just going to load my brush up on both sides with black. I'm pulling straight away so that I have that nice corner on my brush. And then I'm going to start here in the corner and place down some black. And like I said, you want to keep that line nice and crisp. And that's going to be the deepest, darkest corner of your illusion. So it's okay that you want that to be completely black there in the corner. Okay, and then you can kind of fill in that triangle shape. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my brush wet, just the tip. Don't go so far that your metal's getting wet because you don't want to get a bunch of liquid up in there. Now I'm going to go right back into my black and kind of pull it to the side a little bit to kind of water it down a slight bit. And I've also got a piece of paper off to the side here. So if you've got a piece of paper, you can kind of test. See, it's still really dark, okay? So if I put this on top of my color, it's gonna cover up a lot of my color, okay? So I'm gonna get this even more watered down. Okay, we're thinning it out. We're thinning out that paint so it will be opaque when we put it on. So see, now you can see it's a little bit thinner. Even when it dries, see how it lightens up just a little bit, okay? That's more of what we're looking for when we're kind of close here. So we're gonna go in here. We're gonna start in that triangle area and we're gonna work out and away. And we're gonna work slowly up and away. And then we're gonna come back down and see as it dries, it is gonna lighten up a little bit. Again, be very careful when you get on those edges. We'll fade this a little bit better as we're layering, okay? We're gonna kind of layer this on. See, as it dries, it will lighten up a little bit. But as you can see, it's creating that depth to the illusion. Okay, just like that. Get a little bit more on here. I'm going to start a little bit further up here and then work my way back down in. As you layer closer, it is going to get darker. And you want the shadow to come all the way up to where it kind of folds over. You can see where that angle takes a hold there. So we just want that very subtle shadow as it kind of drops over the edge and down and in. Okay, and like I said, that's why I have it on the plate here, so you can turn your plate. It's easier to get a straight line with that straight edge on the top of the brush. Once you have the straight line, if you want to pull your strokes down and towards that darkness, they'll make a little more sense. Okay. Very watered down black here. We're just going to kind of add it to kind of start blending up and to the outer edge and then back a little bit into the black. Keep working on this back and forth. I'm also going to fill in the corners. I sped some of this up because you want to let it dry a little bit in between and just have some patience with it. So we have given our rock plenty of time to dry. That's the only way you're going to be able to tell if you like how your shading or shadows have landed. Just make sure you get this nice edge that really makes it look like those colors fold and go down inside. But how cool does this look? These turn out so awesome, and once I get a clear coat on them, the colors will really pop. It will be great. Make sure that you look at these Capcoria rocks. They really help pull off this illusion because it's nice and flat. And we will be back with another tutorial really soon for you guys to try out. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.